Welcome to this video about natural language processing. Today we'll be discussing about NLP and its uses to develop a sentiment analysis system. So let's get started. For now I'm using Spider, but you can use any editor. So before starting this video, for those of you who doesn't know what is NLP is a natural language processing, which is actually kind of used for text analysis. We make predictive models and we predict on those text which is analyzed after using NLP. So let me first increase my font size, and first of all you must set a directory in which you want to work. So for me it is test.ml, file explorer and main.py. okay, so as you can see this is a blank Python file. So let's start with our coding. So before start our coding, first let's import our libraries which we required, which is NumPy and obviously and pandas. Alias will be np, NumPy which is np, and alias for pandas will be pd. So NumPy library is used to do some scientific calculations on multidimensional arrays and matrices, which is required in most of machine learning systems. And pandas library is used for data manipulation, as it offers tons of useful functions which is required to assess our data set also. So first of all, let's see our dataset. So this is my dataset reviews.tsv, which consists of two columns. First is the reviews and second one is the type of the review, whether it is a good or a bad review. So let's assess our dataset. So let me do some, which is PD, which is alias for pandas, and as you can see this provides me with tons of functions. For now I need to use read CSV, and I am using this function. As you can see, the first parameter which is required, it is file path. So let me give a file path for it, which is reviews.tsv. and as you can see this function is called read CSV, which means that it will separate my columns on behalf of commas, but I don't want to do that as it is a TSV file. So I must tell function that use tab as a separation. So the parameter which I need to set is delimiter. Hit control and enter. Okay, if I go to variable explorer, as you can see there is a variable called dataset, but this thing is not working fine. Reviews and type are combined in this. I think there is a oh yeah, so I must this type, I think this symbol works for yeah. As you can see now this data set consists of 1000 rows and 2 columns. So the 2 columns are reviews and its type. So as you can see this is the review and it is a type. 1 means that this good, yeah, I think, yeah, 1 for good and 0 for bad. And now let's pre-process this data. As you can see there are tons of words which are not required for our systems. Example, if I just tell you that this exclamation sign does not provide any important values to the system, obviously, so we need to remove these unwanted words, or you know, the stop words or some English words like this, that and all this. Now let's pre-process this data. In order to pre-process this data I need to import 2 more libraries. First one is import RE and second one is import NLTK, which stands for Natural Language Toolkit. So why am I importing RE and NLTK? So RE actually provide me with the function called sub. As you can see this thing takes, first is the pattern and second is replace, third is string. So if I tell you, like, first is the pattern, so how the string must follow a pattern like you do in passwords. There must be a capital and the non-capital words and some numeric values, and that is how this thing follows. So for now I'm going to tell that it must take all the characters from lowercase a to z and all the characters from uppercase a to z. And the second parameter what it takes is replace. So how I want to replace the unwanted letters, which will be your unwanted characters, which will be in a string. I want to replace it by space. And the third parameter which is required is obviously the string. So So let's do it with dataset. I know that in dataset there is a column for reviews, and from the reviews, as I know this is consist of 1000 rows, I want to take the 21st of it, and let's do it again. Dataset. Oh my bad. Okay, now let's do it. Review. Wait, it is review, not reviews. So review, and here you can see this gave me this this answer. Actually, as you can see, there is one extra space, so there must be an special character value or something. So after doing the read.sub, I want to make this generalized. What I mean by generalized is, like, if I do heart is equal to, if I just check that whether these two strings are equal or not, so the Python will give false for it, because you know there is some capital values and there is some non-capital values. So in order to do stuff right, I am going to use lower, so which will give me the lower version of the string. Okay, now afterwards the second step for to make the pre-processing work done is to use tokenization. In order to do, there are two types of tokenization: word tokenization and sentence tokenization. For this we are using word tokenization. So in order to do the word tokenization, I need to split this review sentence in, you know, words. So the easiest way to do is, if I just make it review is equal to, so, and review is equal to review dot split. Now this thing will give me this in form of array: the heart, tag, grill, in, focus, time, etc. So now, so I think review dot split is done. Lower, okay, the lower is done, split is done. Now I need to, yeah, and you can see there are some suffixes and prefixes in the sentence which does not carry any valuable information, and it will does not provide any valuable information to a model. So we need to get rid of that too. So for that we'll be using, I think, port stammer. So ps is equal to porter stammer. Okay, so port stammer import porter stammer from NLTK, maybe from NLTK. Oh, I think I've used the wrong. From NLTK import port stammer. Okay, so now let's do it again. Control and enter. Okay, control and enter, and port stammer. Let's initialize the port stammer. It is initialized. Now if I want to tell you like how this thing works is, I think I must use that ps dot stem. Yeah, actually this provide me with the function called stem. Now if I type studying, I think, yeah, if I provide it with studying, this will give me study. Now it actually replaced and it is not the correct output which we need, as this there is no word called study. This must be a study. So this is, you know, that is why we do not use stem, but the stem is basically used for, you know, to remove the suffixes and prefixes. But for I in range, as I know this is actually of 1000, so I will start the range from 0 to 1000, and I will keep on looping, iterating, and I will be subtracting in dataset from, not from 21 but from the I, as it will loop from every single reviews in that, and it will lower that, and it will split that, and ps.stammer. okay, now ps.stammer is initialized. Now actually for now, let's, I think this code will look kind of confusing for you, but if you are from Python you may find it very easy. So let me first write it. I think for word in word. So yeah, let's do so yeah, let me write for, I think, word in, what is, yeah, review. For every word in review, if not word in, I think, set of Let's import stopwords too, which will be available at and from nltk dot I think corpus import. I think it is in not in capital but in stopwords. Let's import this library too. Stopwords is imported, and yeah, for word in review, if not word in set of, stopword for English. Yeah, I think, yeah, for English, as it is in English sentence. So, and after it will return me a word if not in stopword. So I need to do, okay, I need to ps.stem. I need to stem that word for it. Okay, let me resize this thing. ps.stem. Yeah, so now what this thing tells, actually, I'm just doing a for loop over here, which is saying that for every word in review, which will give me a word, as it is an array right now, it will give me the first array, the then heart, the attack and grill, and in, so it will return me if not word in stop words. Now what is stop words? Stop words are those words which do not require, actually which does not contribute in a models. Stop words can be like this, or maybe then, and maybe etc, etc, and like, and those words which will does not carry any values, any relevant values to the model, and so we do not want those words to be included in our step, as it will you know, it will make the matrices more and more large. We do not want to make it large, as it will take tons of time to load and do its stuff. So that is why we are just doing the filtration of that. So I am doing the ps.stem. Now it will give me the array, as I am just, you know, I have used this parenthesis, that whatever this thing will gives, it will be in array. And now I think let me actually get a sentence out of it, not an array. So I will use this and join and review. This will give me an sentence, not an array. So now after that I want to append. Yeah, actually I need to make an append for that. Let's call it corpus and initialize it with blank. So corpus dot append, and then append that review in it. Okay, so yeah, actually this is done. So let's do it again. I think I have already done it, but let's do it again, and let's initialize the corpus. Okay, now corpus is value 0. Now I don't think I must use a spot stammer in it. I think let's, as it will iterate for 1000 times, and I think it will just keep on initializing. So let's make it after that, and everything is set to go. Read sub, lower that thing, split, and ps stem for word and rod and stop words. Wait, stop words for English. Oh, I think I must use the words for it. I think, yeah, this is the function stopwords.word for every English. So now let's run this code, and it actually worked. So this is how our corpus looks like. So if now, actually this was the main string which was there, and now as you can see, after doing pre-processing in it and after removing all the irrelevant things, give me redeem QWERTY, retroad, and inexpense. What is this thing actually? Okay, inexpense. Okay, it stemmed this word inexpensive and gave it inexpense, and okay. So yeah, I think this thing will work fine. What we need to do is we need to create a model called bag of words. So for that I need to import a library called sklearn. From sklearn dot, I think, feature extraction. Yeah, actually these are called features. So sklearn dot feature extraction dot text. Yeah, okay, wait, text import. What do I need to import is count vectorizer. Yeah, So now what a count vectorizer will do is actually it will create matrices of, you can say matrices or an array, anything, but I will call it matrices. It will make a matrices of 0 and 1 for every different words in which is in a corpus. This may sound very confusing right now, so let me first do a coding and you will find it very easy. Count vectorizer is equal to, let's initialize our count vectorizer. Now first of all, count vectorizer is initialized. Now before writing anything, so first I want to tell you that this consists of actually 2 columns, and before starting anything you must see like what are the independent variables and what are the dependent variables. As you can see, these are the independent variables, reviews. Okay, this can be anything, and these are the dependent variable, and this is actually dependent upon the sentence which is in this independent variables. So yeah, technically actually this thing is dependent upon reviews, type is dependent upon reviews. So for that, what I need to tell you that okay, x will be our independent variables, and we also y, which will be a dependent variable. X is independent and y is dependent. So let's do it. So x will be that cv dot I think it will give me cv dot fit and transform. Yeah, I will be using that, and this find this get row documents, which is the our independent variables. In this case, corpus is consist of our independent variables. As you can see, we have iterated over 1000 rows in column review, which is our independent variable, and we have just generalized that thing, and we have just pre-processed that this column, like lowering, splitting, and removing the stop words from it and all the stuff. So which means that our corpus is consist of our independent variables after pre-processing. So yeah, I will be giving it I do believe I will give it corpus and to array, I think, yeah, to array, in order to have array, and y will be our the dependent variables which is in our data set datasets type. But you can also take use of a function called iloc. So yeah, iloc, and this thing actually takes kind of, actually this may be find you very confusing for starters, but this is actually very easy. So if I type like this, so now what this thing actually means, this is return me all the rows from 0 to 10 and return me all the columns from 12 to 87. So yeah, for now, like if I say like okay, return me, as you can see it consists of 1000 rows. So if I tell it okay, 56, start from 0 and return me the, I think, 0 to 1. Now what this thing actually will return, if I do okay y, it is 56. 56 means that okay, so this thing actually gave me 56 rows which started from 0, okay, and gave me like first like 0 to 1. So start from 0 and 1 and at 1. So 1 will not be included, it will be included 0, obviously, as you can see in there also. 55 is included as 56 is not included. So this will actually return me the zeroth column of this data set. So in our case it is reviews. If I tell like okay, just give me 1, now actually this will give me every where is y, actually, yeah, so this will give me the type of 1, as it is the 0 was a review and 1 was a type. So this is how you read iloc values. So for now I want to tell that okay, go through every, I want like every rows from where I want just only the first of it, which is in our case in our data set, which is our y values, which is the dependent variables, so which is called the type, obviously. So I want their values. Okay, now okay, let's do it. Now let's control and enter. Okay, this thing is okay, perfectly fine, and even this thing is perfectly fine. As you can see, this made a huge, actually I don't know what you call, but I will call a matrices, obviously. So actually how many rows, as you can see, this consists of 1564 columns and 1000 rows. if I take a look at again from the X, suppose the 0th word, this word was service. Just suppose that this was service, so it will mark 1 for every service in other reviews, which means that service word was present in this 21st of it. So if I go down and down and down, as you can see, there is one more 1 in it, which is 180, which means that service word was repeated in 180. So this is how a form feature extraction thing works. So now this is our independent variables and this is our dependent variable. Now how our model will work is actually it will find a patterns from these things, like it will say, okay, for every 0 0 0 0 and this combination, the output was 1, okay, and for this combination the output was 1, and for this combination this output was 0. So it will automatically weight every features from it, and it will see like, okay, for what answer it will be for 9th, okay, this will predict on the basis of its previous experience. So yeah, but you may find it very easy after doing, when a model will be implemented into it. We have just totally got a independent and dependent variables. Now it's time to do a modeling stuff. So we'll be doing, first of all, before implementing a model to predict our values, first we need to split our data into two. Now why we need to split our data? Like, as we know, we are having just 1000 rows of data set, so we need to have like 50-50 ratio or whatever ratio. First of all, to make first 50% will be used for to train a model, and 50 will be used for testing our models, just to see that how our model accuracy is. So yeah, for that, to split our data set, we actually also use a sklearn, which is from sklearn dot, I think, split model selection. Yeah, from sklearn model selection, import test split, maybe, I think, which train test split. Yeah, actually we import this thing. Train will be doing first of all x train, then x test, I don't think, yeah, x test, then y train, and comma y test, and this will be is equal to train split set, and it will take arrays. In our case it is x and y, independent variable which is x, and then the dependent variable which is y. So now if I run this code, y is not defined. Oh yeah, actually this is a capital Y. So yeah, another parameter which is called the test split. Yeah, test split is equal to this. I think not the test split, it was something with test size. Yeah, so we need to provide a test size, what percentage we want a test size to be. Our dataset is very small, so I will be using 0.20. so which means that for every 20 lists in 100 it will go to test and 80 will go to training. So yeah, now let's run this code again. So you can see x is consist of 1000 and 1565, and x train is 200, as I have just gave the the percentage of it 0.20. it obviously it gave the 20% of it to the test, and train to 80, which is the 80% goes to training and 20% goes to testing. Same for the y, 20 for test and 80 for training. So now, as we have done with our test split, now we need to use a model. So whenever there is some type of code, when we need to just classify things, okay, so when we need to classify things, whether it is on 0, 1, which means that, okay, whether the answer should be 0 or 1, whether it should be spam or not spam, or maybe, like, you got my point. Whenever there is some kind of binary decisions are related, we use this classifier called naive Bayes. So we'll be importing that from sklearn again, sklearn dot, think it was naive Bayes, import Gaussian and B, oh, Ocean and B. Now GB is equal to, now okay, let's call this for now, call classifier is equal to ocean and B. Let's initialize this thing, control and enter. Now let's train this naive base classifier with our testing. So let's do it, classifier dot, I think fit, yeah, classifier dot fit, and let's give this thing a training set. So it will be x and y. Argument which it requires is the x actually are independent variable, of course. Yeah, why am I getting confused? So yeah, which for now x train, and y will be our, I think, y train. So yeah, think this thing is working fine. Control and enter. Okay, so this actually returned me with something, variable smoothing y, I don't know, whatever that thing is. Now as a classifier is, I think, now ready to do error prediction. So now let's get started with the prediction. So I will call this thing ypred, which means that it will be predicting for y. So yeah, go for classifier dot predict, and predict it for x train again. I think let's go for x test it is. If now the moment of truth, let's get to, okay, now so yeah, so actually this is our output, and where it is called the y test. So y test, so yeah, actually maybe I don't think the accuracy is, yeah, accuracy is fine. For 11 it gave 1, and 12 again 1, 3, 1 and 1, I think. Let's test for another 21. Okay, so yeah, I think accuracy is quite genuine, I do believe. So this actually gave a predictions for that, whether the x train and y train. So this was a training data set for a classifier. Classifier was trained on these two things, okay, x train and y train. So y test and x test was not given to the classifier, but when we predicted the output for the x test, our classifier, I think, did a very good job. So yeah, let's check for, in order to check our accuracy. So actually we do, yeah, what we can do so yeah, actually we can take the use of sklearn. I think this gave me with matrices. Yeah, there must be a matrices called confusion matrices. It is working or not? Yeah, so we can take the use of confusion matrices. Now how the confusion matrices works is equal to confusion matrices, and okay, actually this I'm going right. So y true means that the real values for the y, which was for this case was y test, which was the real value, and what our predicted values were, which is the y pred. So okay, now let's start, control and enter. Okay, now this gave me this thing, which means that 58 was right in case of 0, which means that our classifier gave 58 right answers for 0, which means that the statement was not statement was bad actually. So for that it gave me the 58 right answers, and for 1, that the statement was good statement, or the comment was a good statement, our classifier did a job of 79, which means that it scored 79. So 44 was the wrong answers in for the y for the ones, and 0 was 19, which means that 19 was a wrong answer in case of 0. But I think we can predict, actually I can improve this model more. And how I'm going to do that, like where I have just split those data. Okay, so here I have just split those datas, okay, which is the test size of that, but it also take one more variable, which is called the random state. I think whether it is for that or not, like 21. Now if I do it again, random state, oh, random random state. Now control and enter. Okay, this thing is working fine. again run these things, and now if I do a confusion matrix which is 58, now let's just write this thing 58, 44 and 19 and 79. Now if I do this thing, this actually gave me a great answer. I think 40 for 60 right answers for that, and 43 wrongs and 13 wrongs and 84 rights. Okay, I think now what random set actually did was it actually shuffled the data set into 21. I don't You can play with this thing, you can do like 56. This maybe this thing will work perfectly fine, or 0 for if you don't want the shuffling to happen. So yeah, now this is actually how you do this thing. But if you have learned the naive Bayes, if you know about the naive Bayes, you might be knowing that there are 3 types of this naive Bayes algorithms or classifiers, you can say. First one is Gaussian Bayes, second one is Bernoulli's Bernoulli NB. I can let's take a use of this. If I do again these things, this actually gave me 72 right answers for 0 and 76 right answers for 1, which means that this thing is actually working more accurate than the previous one. There is one more called multinomial, so you may use the multinomial too. Okay, if I do 72 and 76 was the right answer. Now if it gave me like 71, which is actually not more accurate than the Bernoulli's, but more accurate than the Gaussian Bayes. So yeah, 71 and 76. If I just again do Gaussian Bayes and if I do again 71 and 76, now if I do it, it is less accurate, but it is more accurate for the one side. 60 and 84, 60 right answers for 0 and 84 right answers for 1. So you can see, you can play with this more and more. Actually, steps you can do in order to make your predictions more accurate, like you can use lematizer for this thing, which will give you the first form of verbs. You can use tons of other things. You can make, as we have just used count vectorizer for feature extraction, you can use more features and add it into this thing. But as we were just having only 1000 rows, which is not a good source, there must be a large data set in order to train our data. You can use this actually setup for mostly any of the thing, for maybe selecting a genre of the movie or movie recommendation system, or any recommendation systems where binary decisions are you want the output in binary decisions, maybe 0 or 1, whether this is yes or whether it is no. So you can use this code for any of those systems, and you can build, I think, a great system. But one thing you just need is maybe a great data set. Obviously the training will be dependent upon this dataset, and you will be doing everything from that. So this was actually not a deep dive about what is NLP and its uses, and there are actually tons of others models out there you can play with, like multinomials. There's tons of it, supervised learning, non-supervised learning. There are tons of things. You just need to know about more and more. So this was just a first step of building, of telling you like how machine learning is great for our futures and how this thing works. So I hope this video just cleared your mind about NLP and this stuff. So for detailed videos about anything related to NLP or machine learning, you can comment down below, and maybe I will make a video for that too. For any of you who want this code and the data set, I will be providing a link to my GitHub repository, and you can just go to there and you can download this and actually see you soon.